Just go with the mentality of Zen, meditate every day, and pinky promise me that you're not going to panic sell or FOMO buy, because that is literally the reasons why I have a business, because managing your emotion is the most important and the hardest thing to do when it comes to investing.
Welcome to the Bulletproof Cashflow podcast. Let's get into the show.
Hey everyone, this is Agostino. For many of us growing up, we often go down that career path that doesn't always turn out to be the best for us. I know I did. Well, today's guest understands this as well. She realized early on that engineering and math were not her life plan. She ended up forging a new future for herself and has become an award-winning, internationally recognized personal investing and wealth management expert. She is a sought-after speaker, author, and executive coach who delivers inspirational workshops and seminars to corporations, universities, and entrepreneurial groups. She has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Time Magazine, Fox Business, Forbes, TheStreet, and Nasdaq. And she's an accomplished author, most notably Invest Diva's Guide to Making Money in Forex and Cryptocurrency, Investing for Dummies. As a CEO of Invest Diva, she is on a mission to show people how simple it is to begin successfully investing through her easy to understand educational programs. She also has the resources where people with no experience at all can gain the confidence that they need to define their own financial future. Now, with all that, I'd like to welcome my good friend, Kiana Danial, to the show. Kiana, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Very, very excited to have you on. Now, if you like what Kiana has to say, you can reach her via her contact page at investdiva.com. And if you like our content, please don't forget to leave a comment and rate the show. It helps us out tremendously when you do. Finally, if you text the word freedom to 202-410-4202, you'll get our free ebook, The Bulletproof Guide to Finding a Broker. Okay, Kiana, go ahead and tell listeners a little bit more about your story and how you got your start.
Of course. Well, where should I begin? Right at the beginning is a little bit weird because I was actually born and raised in Iran to a Jewish family. And then I went on to go to Japan to study electrical engineering. I was in Japan for 7 years. I did not enjoy being an electrical engineering student. I was the only girl in my class. And in 2008, that was the first time I ever got introduced to the financial markets when the markets were crashing. And I accidentally made money in the crashing market. I was like, wow, this is cool.
How'd you do that? You just put a short or something like that against the market, or what?
I shorted the dollar yen. Yeah. Accidentally. I was planning to just buy US dollar because all I could hear was that, oh, the US dollar is getting cheaper, is devaluing versus Japanese yen. And I had a bunch of Japanese yen. I was in Japan, right? I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should just buy US dollar now. And then every day was just like nosediving, going down. I'm like, how can I catch the best price? I was asking one of my friends, how can I do this? Like, oh, you can just put in a Forex broker. I'm like, what? It's like, oh, don't worry. Just create an account, pass along $10,000 worth of Japanese yen, short of the dollar yen pair. I didn't even know what was happening. On a 14-time leverage, I had no idea what it was. Like, okay, sure, do it. I don't recommend it, by the way.
Never do that. Yeah.
Very pure luck. I lucked out. And yeah, within a month, I doubled my money. I'm like, what? I was a college student. I'm like, what? $10,000 at the time for me was just a lot of money. So like, you know what? Screw engineering. I'm going to go to finance. So that's how I came to New York.
And New York's a great city too. It's a great place to actually do that. I lived in New York for some time, so I know the influence of the financial markets. And yes, I know you spent some time out there. So describe that time. Like how did you really cement that whole financial education that of what you do today? Like how did that really impact you?
So what happened is that I came to New York. My big goal obviously was to go and work on Wall Street. Thankfully, because of my engineering background, even though it has nothing to do with finance, I was able to get a job on Wall Street within 2 weeks, actually. It was on a broker. And I was super excited to learn about everything. And I was learning about what the broker was doing, which was pretty shady, by the way. And I'm like, what? And one of the biggest things that really hit me by surprise was that I was still the only girl in our team. And I'm like, I thought America is this land of equality from the movies that you watch on Hollywood. Like women have this positions of power, and it really wasn't like that on Wall Street. And I'm like, is this the same America I was watching on TV growing up, or is this a different one? But yeah, it turns out. I mean, it's getting much better now, but at the time, 2009, 2010, when I was on Wall Street, it was pretty bad. And so multiple things happened. I had a lot of dreams and a lot of ambitions. So I was just pitching my boss, my big Wall Street boss, with a ton of things like, why don't you target women? Why don't you do this? Why are you doing things the shady way? Why don't you do that? I was just full of ideas, which got me fired.
Yeah, they usually do that. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
So, and I'm like, what? So that was obviously very embarrassing for me. I didn't tell people that I got fired. I told everyone that I quit. And I mean, I was like, it's very embarrassing when you get fired for sure. So that also at the same time though ignited fire in me that I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do it on my own. I'm going to show these people I can do it on my own. I was very inspired by Hollywood movies for sure. So, but that's what I did. I founded investdiva.com literally in 2012, 6 months after I got fired. In the meantime, I was working with other financial institutions and I was learning a lot. I was trading. I started reporting at the New York Stock Exchange. And I started building my network in Wall Street because the person who fired me, well, was, obviously there was something between us, but there were other people who were very helpful and taught me a lot of things. So I decided to put all the knowledge, all my experimenting with the markets, all the losses, all the wins into investdiva.com to also be this role model for women so that they can do it with me and come along the journey, which has been very interesting in the past now 8 years.
Excellent. Now, what is Invest Diva? For those people out there who have not heard of Invest Diva, what is it and how do you help people? How do your programs help people?
Right. So it's basically just an educational platform. I'm not a broker. I'm not a financial advisor, not a money manager, nothing like that. And my really one goal is to make investing as easy to understand as possible for everyone. And more recently, I switched to focusing on supporting moms. After I became a mom, my goal kind of shifted from women in general, which is awesome, but I kind of laser focused. I started laser focusing on moms because for moms, even if they're interested in getting in, there are so many myths that gets in the way. Okay, I don't have time. I don't have the money. My husband controls the money. He will just do it. I don't have to do it. So all these myths and misbeliefs that is preventing a lot of moms taking control of their financial future, which comes back biting them in the butt. Not only them, but their family and their husbands too. Money is the number 2 reason people get a divorce. So financial literacy is not just for your husband. Like you need to be in charge. And there's just so many reasons. Women live longer. Average age of widowhood is 59 years old. Uh, there are so many reasons why women need to be in charge of the financial future. I focus on the mom group, and it has been really rewarding actually since COVID happened. Finally, oh my God, we saw this overflow of moms just pouring into Invest Diva. We've had like thousands of women coming in. It's just been amazing that women finally, I feel like my story triggered kind of resonated with them because I started in the previous recession, and now I'm a mom. So I feel like the whole story kind of resonated with them. Oh, it's a recession. Maybe I should start investing now. Oh, she's a mom, so maybe she can help me. Whatever it was, it's been really amazing that I'm seeing this wave of moms starting to invest.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing though too. I think it's very crazy that some of the investor knowledge that you are delivering to your target moms. I mean, but to everyone else for that matter. I mean, I know I didn't learn this stuff in engineering school when I went there. I didn't learn how to
Money
invest
is
money.
taboo. Talking about, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
Yeah,
talking about money is taboo in engineering schools.
yeah.
Like my professors would get angry at me if I talk about money.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. So, and that's the thing. I mean, this is definitely great, not just for women and for moms especially, but for really anybody, really, to develop that investor that investor knowledge that everyone should really have to build that success. What you're talking about financially, of course, but also to protect themselves against downturns like we're experiencing right now, right? And that part is absolutely huge.
100%. And of course, I mean, I talk about moms a lot because that's my focus,
Right.
but we have people from obviously investing. Anyone should be investing, literally anybody. And there are a lot of people out there who are focusing in different sectors. I'm focusing on moms. We have a lot of people, male, female, people in between, mom, not mom, parent, not parent. But as you said, especially during the downturns, what people don't realize is that actually recessions make the most millionaires because that is when the wealth transfers. So if you were even doubting, oh my God, is this the right time to get in? This is the right time to get in. And then you should continue investing literally the rest of your life because that is going to be the passive income, the extra additional income that is going to make your money work for you. And not only for yourself, but also for your children and the children to come.
Yeah. Do you think that's probably the biggest hang up for many people is that they're afraid to start because they think, oh, it's not a good time. Now's not the
It's
time, or maybe I need to wait for some event to happen or something like that. Like, what do you think it is?
100%. One of the hangups, if the markets are at the all-time high, right now is actually very interesting because some assets are actually at the all-time high while the rest of the market is under recession. So I've seen both excuses. Oh, what am I going to buy? It's at all-time high. Or, oh my God, it's a recession. It's not a good time. Oh my God, election is coming. It's not a good time. There is opportunity in each and every one of these cycles. You just have to know what is moving on with what cycle and just take that opportunity, create a portfolio that is suitable to your risk tolerance. Like, I'm not saying, oh my God, you should go all in right when something huge is going to happen and we're going to have volatility. You have to have that knowledge so that when the opportunity does arise, you actually know what to do. Because when COVID happened, the funny thing is there were different types of people. There were people who were already invested, but they panicked and they sold everything. That happens a lot. Each and every market pullback that happens, there are the people who get wiped out, transfer their wealth to the people who are buying. Then we have the growth value investor who's buying the stuff that the panic seller is selling. Then we have these people who are just hearing about it. Oh my God, I have to go start doing it. And they're like on the call with the brokers, trying to open a brokerage account. They don't know what they're doing. And they're just go and dump all their money in one asset that they've heard about. And, COVID, of course, healthcare. Everybody was putting their money in healthcare. A bunch of them dropped like a potato right off the bat. So my thing is just prepare yourself. Be prepared. Yes, it's okay to start at a recession, but again, just don't go blindly in. You need to have that education. It's not too difficult or like a rocket science. It's just basic, solid information of where you stand financially, what is going to be right for your portfolio, how to diversify, how to set buy limit orders. It's like really basic stuff. How to do fundamental analysis, technical analysis of the assets, and then you're gold for life. You can just do it over and over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, and everything you just said implies that you are more of a longer term investor. You're not really sitting there watching the screens all day long and doing trades inside and out all day long, right? That's not your game, right?
No, because I did that back in the day when I was younger, so there is two components to risk tolerance, right? So there is willingness to take a risk and the ability to take a risk. At the time when I got started, I had the willingness to take a risk because I was young and free and I didn't have any commitments or mortgage to pay, but I didn't have the ability because I didn't have a lot of money. And that is when day trading was actually very appealing. You would hear all these stories of day traders making $500 per day. Like it was like basic thing. And I started doing that and listen to the news and you know what? I lost $15,000 right off the bat, all my savings.
Oh my God.
It's not something that I'm interested in. And now I have the ability to take that risk, but I'm not willing to take that risk because first off, I don't have the time. I'm a full-time mom. I don't have the, patience to be like sitting. I'm running a business. I'm writing books. I have media commitments, like, coming on your show. So I prefer, it's not my lifestyle. I do not want to day trade. And I see, if not better returns with medium term to long term investing. I'm not like the type that just sit on my account for 25 years. For tax purposes, I try to hold on to my positions for over a year. But then after that, I just basically look at the price action. I look at the markets and see when is a good time to buy or sell. And I'm also at the same time adding to my portfolio on a monthly basis. So I'm always looking for new opportunities. So I basically spend an hour per week managing my portfolio.
Wow, that's it?
That's it.
That's insane.
That's actually, it's not only my portfolio, it's mine and my dad's portfolio.
Huh. Wow. So that gives you all this free time to really structure the life that you want to live, right? As opposed to doing the whole 40-hour thing like you were doing before. And of course, I mean, we know that for some people anyway, stocks can be a somewhat, how should I say, intimidating sort of a scenario, right? And doing all that, those types of trades, it can be somewhat intimidating. But I mean, obviously you've been doing this for a while, you're training this. So it's not like it's a big, scary thing for you, obviously, right?
So the thing about stocks is that people who you watch on TV, unfortunately, they use vocabulary and linguistics that are intimidating. Like when I first went on Wall Street, I'm like, what are you even talking about? And then I realized that the reason why they do that is to confuse you so that you're like, you know what? I don't understand. Why don't you manage my money?
Right.
Money managers, financial advisors, I love them, great people, but that's what their deal. If you know how to invest on your own, they won't have a job. So their job is to make investing as intimidating as possible so that they have a job, so they keep their job. And so I took all the, you can see my books over here in my back, but I took the CFP, the CFA, all these C-level fancy titles that you can get. And then I'm like, you know what? After I dug into it, I'm like, this is not as hard as they sounded to be, like at all. First of all, it has nothing to do with math. Nothing. Like fourth grade math, maximum, maybe third. And you have your phones right over here. And then the rest of it is really just being street smart, understanding, branding. There are so many other things than math, like literally everything but math when it comes to picking stocks specifically. And I always tell my women, if you're good at shopping, if you're good at bargain shopping, you're going to be a good stock investor because you're going to be good at spotting the sales. And that's really what it's all about, is spotting the sales for value stocks. And it doesn't take, once you get the initial education, then you're set for literally for life, because it's like riding a bicycle. You learn it once and then it's there. And it takes 5 minutes for me to create investment strategy, analyze a stock and see whether or not it's, high risk, low risk, medium risk. Does it suit my portfolio? When to buy, when to sell, all those things, literally 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing in real estate, right? Whenever we're getting into, when I first started up in real estate, it seemed rather intimidating as well. The terminology is totally alien, totally foreign to me. I come from a background of tech as well, engineering. And of course, the numbers are easy, but it was the intimidating nature of the material, because you don't totally understand how to structure a deal, for instance, or mezzanine financing. What's that all about? Things like that, right? But I imagine, same thing in the world of stocks and trading. It's the same sort of thing. Now, how did you overcome? Maybe you can recall, like, how did you overcome that initial static, that initial friction when you first decided you were going to do this and really help build this brand? How did you really get your head around all these different things and really commit to really focusing on this? Like what made you really decide that?
So first of all, the fire was already ignited because I had gotten fired. I wanted to prove myself to the guy who had fired me, which I did, by the way. I'll tell you the story in a little bit. But I threw myself with education and actually experiencing, which was tough and I lost a bunch of money on the way. I spent so much money on high level education, which is really not that needed when it comes to just, if you want to become an financial advisor and actually make that your career, then yes, you need the titles. But if you're just managing your own account, it wasn't needed. So I went above and beyond with education because I really wanted to get this right. And I was a nerd when I was at school. So the education part of it was like just geeking out on things. And I did learn a lot from experiment. And one person who in particular helped me actually was a person called an investor, hedge fund manager, whose name is Guy Spire. And he's the person who actually told me, this is at the very beginning, there's a difference between trading and investing. And I'm like, what? I thought it's the same thing. And it's like, no, you're trading, you're day trading. Investing, you can get in lower risk. You don't have to spend as much time. You don't have to have a lot of capital. You don't invest or go on margin, which actually amplifies the risk that you're taking. And that changed my whole view of the industry. Because, yeah, when I first got into Wall Street, my vision was like, okay, yeah, look at the charts all day, be stuck, be glued to your screen all day. That was my view. But when it comes to investing, it really isn't that. It's really long-term, making your money work for you kind of thing, which is a lot more relaxed than being a day trader.
Yeah. And that's the thing though, too. I think you hit the nail on the head is that once you make that decision, you fill your head up with knowledge and you really start focusing, you get that fire in the belly that really keeps you motivated to absorb as much information as possible. Then, I mean, and you did it the hard way too, the same way I did, where you get into some not so good deals, not so good trades, and you lose some money, totally unnecessary. You don't have to do that. You can learn from mistakes. They don't have to be yours, right? So that's
right.
why
Exactly.
I take on.
That's why I'm super passionate about helping people because, as you said, you don't have to go the hard way. Because find somebody who's done the hard way and learn from them, so you don't make the same mistakes as you just said. So, it's absolutely amazing how you can use other people's experience to your advantage and take it to your advantage.
That's right. That's right. So, what's the story now with your old boss there, and so what happened with all that?
So, one of the things that I remember like vividly, I really wanted to become an analyst, and they kept me at this financial, I don't know, they had a position for me, and that was like really not what I really wanted to do, which was actually analyzing the markets. And I remember, again, like asking my direct boss to ask the big boss, hey, can Kiana move to analysis? And the email that the big boss sent to my direct boss was like, Kiana is not an analyst and she never will be. That was the email.
Wow.
So years later, this is after I got published by McGraw-Hill, the biggest publication in the world, in education in the US. Okay, I got carried away. But in the world.
In the world, in the universe, yeah.
But I was actually presenting at the New York Money Show. And I was, celebrated. I was talking about my analysis and strategy development method. And I look into the audience and my boss is sitting there.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
And I actually took the courage to go and talk to him afterwards. I'm like, hey, how is it going? Like, do you remember that you said Kiana is not an analyst? I actually said that. And it's like, yeah, you sure did prove me wrong. And I was like, yes.
Awesome. I love that story.
The Hollywood story came true for me at the end.
But that's what it took, though, right? I mean, not getting punched in the face or kicked in the gut. It seems like a bad blessing. And I think, just like you said, I mean, it's one of those things that what's the statistic? It says it's one of the hardest things for someone to go through is getting fired and getting going through a breakup, right? So kind of like the same.
Like it's physical and spiritual pain is just so. It's very, very tough, 100%. And people, especially if you like the job, like if it's a job that you don't care for. I literally packed from Tokyo to come to New York to work on this, and then I got fired. It was like a slap in the face. So.
Yeah. Well, I think on many levels too, because say, for instance, you do like the job, but then it's kind of like when they hand you the pink slip, not only do they have a word with you about how much you suck, now you don't have a job, or you don't have no income, and now you're upset about it, right? And but I think by using that fuel, you're able to reposition your entire life. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that people don't do. I mean, that's how I really did things. I used that as fuel to really change and reposition my entire life, which is why we do real estate today. But you did the same thing, and so many other people out there are in that same boat, probably listening to this right now. Maybe that's the same thing that happened to them, especially all this COVID stuff that's going on. But I think the key thing and you've already mentioned this, is to be prepared for when this kind of stuff actually happens by really filling your head up with knowledge, right?
100%, yes. And I've heard also so many stories of people taking a hit and then turning it into something amazing. So there are two types of people. And I mean, there are stages, of course, of grief and anger when you go through a breakup or getting fired. But some people just don't get to the next level, which is turning it around. And I really want to encourage everyone, if you're feeling that, it just takes that ignite, just take that anger, embrace it, and turn it around, turn it into something beautiful, whatever it is that you're passionate about that you can do.
Yeah. Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think that people don't take that action?
I just think not knowing. I think that everybody has this within them. Literally everyone has this. But some people just, maybe they don't have the role model. Maybe they don't know it is actually, maybe they don't believe they can do it. Okay, was that, okay, she can do it. She was like this and that and that. There are so many excuses. We talked about mindset before the interview. It comes down to mindset, believing that you can do it and you can do it.
Yep. 100%, 100%. So someone's listening right now, and they might need that special piece of advice, a special piece of wisdom. What sort of bulletproof advice would you give them?
So that's interesting. You have Bulletproof. In my power course, we have a special module which is called Volatility Proof. So volatility proofing, if you're looking into investing, I'm going to talk about investing because entrepreneurship, you can get obviously a lot of advice, and real estate also from you. But when it comes to investing, if you're getting in it, just go with the mentality of Zen. Meditate every day, and pinky promise me that you're not going to panic sell or FOMO buy, because that is literally the reasons why I have a business, because managing your emotion is the most important and the hardest thing to do when it comes to investing. And the more knowledge you have, the better you can manage those emotions. It has nothing to do with nothing. It has very little to do with math, very little to do with spending time or being stuck to your screen, very little to do even with how much money you have, but a lot to do with managing your emotions. And that's why I have actually this masterclass that I just give away for free, that you can just go and see the exact steps that I take to create my investment strategies. I give you a risk management toolkit when you attend the masterclass, so that you can go and understand where you stand financially, whether or not you should be investing in stocks or index funds or cryptocurrency or Forex. And I invest in all of these. So yeah, I mean, my recommendation is go and take that masterclass and start really getting into the mindset of making your money work for you and having that additional income stream.
Excellent. And then that's the thing though, too. Definitely get educated. That's the biggest thing. I mean, I think if someone commits to a lifelong education and building that mental muscle, it presents so many new opportunities. And I mean, I know it's changed my life. So that's excellent.
Student for life. I mean, I'm constantly, now that I've done investing, my next step is to get into real estate. I need to learn about that to save on taxes.
I can show you on that stuff. I can help you out with that. I know someone.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know someone? Oh, really? Yeah, the name comes into mind. But yeah, so, student for life, that is what all wealthy people have in common, is that they're constantly learning. The best investment that you can make is in yourself.
100%. No one can ever take it away from you.
Yeah.
Never. All right. Well, guys, if you want to reach out to Kiana, you can reach her via her website, investdiva.com. Don't forget to check out her masterclass. Go ahead, sign up for it. Totally free. I think you probably get a lot of great insight on how you can create your personal and your future goals and really blow them up and really change them into reality. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the Bulletproof Cashflow podcast.